What happened to him? Man, Howard Stern would hate who Howard Stern has become. The Howard Stern from 35 years ago would mock unbelievably who he has become and what he has become. Howard Stern has become a sycophant for the Democratic Party, which is crazy. He is not able to at least even see why at least half of America, maybe more, come November 5, will vote against his preferred political party. You know, I do this show obviously every day, 4 hours every day, and I tell you when Donald Trump has good days. I tell you when Donald Trump has bad days, good weeks, good moments, bad moments. I can at least see where somebody would say, you know, this guy Trump, certainly flawed, somebody who you may not want marrying your daughter, I get all that. I can see it, and we can have an honest conversation about it here on KCMO Talk Radio. The fact that Howard Stern can't, coming from the other side of political aisle, as a guy who's someone who spent his entire career, let's be honest, denigrating women in large part, is now becoming a shill for Kamala Harris and her presidential campaign, is just unbelievable how it comes full circle sometimes. So Kamala's doing this media blitz, and she does the Call Her Daddy podcast, a popular podcast geared at 18 to 34-year-old women on Sirius XM. Alex Cooper's the host of that, which did not do all that well on YouTube. I saw it got like 200,000 views in the first day or so. That's not good for a podcast of that size. She did The View yesterday, which, as we told you before the break, may have sunk her campaign. She did Stephen Colbert last night, which we'll get to, and she did Donald Trump yesterday, or Howard Stern yesterday as well. And take a listen to Howard Stern and what he says to Kamala Harris on his own show.
When you said you don't nap, I get it, because like what you've taken on is extraordinarily difficult. And I mean, do you feel the pressure of the moment in the sense that, when I met you out in the hall, I said, I'm really nervous because I want this to go well for you. I want it to go well for the country. Even when I watch them on Saturday Night Live with the where they have Maya Rudolph playing you, I hate it. I don't want you being made fun of. There's too much at stake. I believe the entire future of this country right now, I mean, as America, land of the free, home of the brave, I think it's literally on the line.
I agree with you.
I don't want you getting made fun of, says the guy who made hundreds of millions of dollars mocking people with disabilities and literally making fun of people for a living, John.
I agree with you.
Well, that was powerful.
Yeah. I don't want you being made fun of by Maya Rudolph, who, by the way, is going to vote for Kamala Harris. They treat her with kid gloves. Are you kidding me?
Suddenly, Howard's a journalist.
Yeah. Suddenly, he's a sensitive man with a sensitive side. I don't want to see you, Miss Harris, Miss VP, Madame VP, get made fun of. Oh, I don't know how you sleep at night. I'm losing sleep over you losing the election. Freedom is on the line. Which political party has talked more about limiting the First Amendment? I've heard Tim Walz, her running mate, say the First Amendment and free speech is not absolute. I've heard Hillary Clinton talk about how, these social media platforms who are protected by Section 230, which basically prevents them from getting sued by huckster trial attorneys left and right for things that end up on their platform. That's got to be taken a look at, I mean, like the good old days when we had just a couple of newspapers and a couple of TV stations who were able to feed us and feed the American people the correct propaganda. You tell me, for all of Trump's bluster, did he limit your speech in any way, shape, or form? Did he do any of that? Because I know I don't have the best memory. This whole waking up at 4 a.m. thing has done a bad deal for my memory. But I don't remember that, John.
I suppose this seems like it all stems from maybe one time at Studio 51, Trump got Stern kicked out of the VIP thing.
54, yes.
Yeah, Studio 54. There you go.
That's right. Maybe that's what
it goes
happened.
way back to the, got him kicked out of Tavern on the Green or something, the VIP section. Stern sitting there and said, sorry, you're going to have to move. Trump's here.
So here's the interesting part of that. Trump used to go on Howard Stern, I don't want to say with regularity, but Trump and Stern were buddies. And I heard Trump tell this story on a New York radio show, a couple of months ago. And he said that Howard would always have him on, and they were friends. And Howard would want Trump on because Trump gave him great ratings. Just like Trump would go on Imus in the morning and give him great ratings. And they all liked Trump because he gave them good ratings. And Trump said that in 2016, he talked to Howard, and this was off the air, and Howard basically said, I think I'm going to support Hillary. And Trump was like, are you kidding me? You can't be serious. And Howard at that point was obviously in his 100 millionaire phase, living high in the hog, hanging out with the elites in the Hamptons and doing that whole shtick, and got sucked into the Hillary Clinton deal. Trump wins, and Howard basically broke. And then he became a COVID weirdo, and he got 27 boosters and the whole thing, and the rest is history. And now here he is shilling on his show for Kamala Harris. Howard Stern, who was for a generation the ultimate guys radio, is now out there shilling for a candidate who will do the worst of any modern-day American presidential candidate with men that we have ever seen. And Howard Stern is trying to save her. Howard Stern has lost his audience. It is sad to see for a guy who obviously was once the great Howard Stern. But it also, sadly, in some ways, is entirely predictable. But when I heard that clip, I was like, oh my goodness, this guy, what happened to him?
He used to be the average New Yorker guy, but now you got to pay to listen to him. Well, that's the kind of crap that the average New Yorker isn't going to buy, right?
Well, that's so true as
you
well.
Know how much your money doesn't go that far in New York, even if you're making $100,000. So, subscribing. He thought he was going to bring the masses with him, I'm sure, and get a little bit of an awakening.
Well, yeah. No, $100,000, you're on the bread lines there in New York, you know? It's not good. No way, no how. So that was part of Kamala's media tour yesterday. You had The View yesterday, and you also had late-night television for Kamala Harris yesterday as well. And frankly, none of it went all that well for her. And I said on Monday morning, I started off the show on Monday morning at 6:05 when it came out that she was going to be going on this media blitz. I said, this is a very good sign for Donald Trump's campaign. There is no way the Kamala Harris team would be sending her on a media blitz with 4 weeks to go unless they felt like they had no choice, unless they felt like they had to do it because their internal polling suggested that she needs to get out there more. They have been avoiding this for the better part of 2.5 months. Trust me, they don't want to do any media. And the fact that they're now doing media, and it's friendly media, and it's still not working out well for her, suggests to me that this is a last-ditch effort because they believe that they are behind based on whatever internal numbers that they have. A lot of the public numbers that we see that show this as a coin flip election, you can manipulate polls however you want. And I think a lot of that on both sides is probably to keep people engaged and also keep the donors flowing in to be like, yeah, it's a tight race, but there's always internal polling that can show a different story. And the only conclusion I can come to after 2.5 weeks of hiding, or 2.5 months of hiding, is that Kamala Harris's team feels like it now has no choice. And that's why she's doing some of these interviews. And man, it is a gift to Donald Trump.